Hi everyone, a massive warm welcome to today's Friday Roundup. If you weren't aware, this is the episode where we look back on the past 7 days, see if there's any big news items that are shaping crypto currently, and also anything that might shape crypto in the next 7 days. So as always, I love cracking into these episodes straight away with the biggest news item of the week. And that, of course, was the CPI numbers that came out yesterday in the United States. And unfortunately, they came a little bit higher than anticipated, so expected. We had CPI of 8.3% versus 8.1%, which was expected. So there are massive issues in the short term for these speculative markets when they see these prints come out, because at first we see traditional markets sell off, then it flows down into crypto because it is all tightly linked one-to-one essentially right now. And so that just happens. Now, I've seen a bit of commentary in the free group saying, well, there was some divergences seen on the lower timeframes, meaning, 1 hour, 4 hour, going even lower than that to anticipate this. And I'm just not buying that, because we're seeing risk markets, particularly crypto, tightly linked to traditional financial markets. And everyone on the planet was glued to this CPI figure. And leading up to this, the weekly, the daily looked actually quite powerful. And then we did see traders get a little bit nervous leading up to the event, a bit of hesitation. So absolutely, we saw a bit of hesitation moving to the event, but looking at just technical analysis and not paying attention to the broader macrosphere, you want a full 360 vision of what is going on, because it doesn't matter what the TA says, especially in crypto. If overnight a massive macro event happens, the TA is wiped out. Support levels can go, it doesn't matter. If the CPI print came in yesterday under expectations, meaning it was quite positive, meaning that inflation is visibly falling back, year on year, month on month, then I fully expect we would have had a really strong move into the 15th, which is the Ethereum merge. So a lot of those lined up for me. Of course, no one can predict the future. It just seemed highly probable to me that that was going to be the case, but you cannot discount the macro has an enormous effect on this market. And if you're not paying attention to it right now, you really need to be, because inflation is the key driver that is moving the Fed to go harder and harder with interest rates. And because of this print, it tells the market that they are pretty much going to go ahead with a 0.75 interest rate rise over this next phase. So within the next week or so, I believe the next FOMC meeting is. It also gives them a bit of a mandate, again, to go hard into the back end of the year. And then we really have to start looking at next year on what happens as the United States and global economies move into a recession. Because the harder they go with these interest rate rises, the stronger the dollar gets, the weaker risk markets become, and also, probably more profoundly, the weaker emerging markets become, and they cannot sustain these high dollar rates right now. So just wanted to get that across. But CPI was the massive driver this week. So any bullishness we had, moving into that print, moving into the 15th, was absolutely gutted by that higher than anticipated CPI figure that came out. And we saw a big candle that shot to the downside and ripped out a lot of levels. So as always, there's a lot of risk and turbulence right now in these markets until we know that things are improving in the macro. All right, moving on to some other news. Really big news in terms of big buyers in this market, and there is no bigger buyer in this market than MicroStrategy. They have levered themselves up like crazy, putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet instead of cash. They're looking at the long game. A lot of people don't understand what they're doing and Michael Saylor's approach. That's fine. Money is made in disagreements, and also Michael Saylor doesn't really care about making money. He's got enough. He's looking at how to preserve capital, how to preserve wealth over the longer term as the dollar continues to lose purchasing power. So they have filed the SEC, MicroStrategy's SEC, my goodness, I can't even speak to that. Filings reveal the company is considering selling $500 million in stock to purchase more Bitcoin. Now, they're not going to do the whole amount, but they're going to do some. It makes a lot of sense of buying all the way down and lowering their average price. Why not buy some at 20,000? So it's good to see them inching in at these levels, because this points to a more extreme stage of the market, and they are tremendously underwater right now. So showing MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor still have conviction and confidence in this market, in these areas, is fairly profound. It will give this market a bit of hope and pause at these levels, that we are starting to see that rounding of a bottom formation or accumulation phase, where institutions and large investors do become very, very interested based on a lot of fundamental metrics we look at, including on chain. All right, this is really big news, I think, for the future. And as we move further and further into nation state adoption. We've seen El Salvador, we've seen Central African Republic. No doubt in my mind, we're going to see some Middle Eastern countries start to do this more and more. Bahrain's another one that's trying Bitcoin payments. But this is a G20, G7 nation, Canada, where the new leader of the Conservative Party has long been a Bitcoiner, long been a conservative economist, has conservative economic principles. And he's been extremely vocal about how important Bitcoin is and blockchain is moving forward, as the opposition party, or the party in power led by Justin Trudeau, has been printing money like crazy, running up debts. He's now won. So Pierre Poilievre, he has won the Conservative leadership. So he is in prime position based on Justin Trudeau's horrible popularity right now. He is likely to become the next prime minister when the elections are held. A lot can happen between then and now, but there is the likelihood that the next prime minister of Canada will be a Bitcoiner, and he's likely going to try and make it legal tender. Look down those routes as well and be very, very friendly towards blockchain and crypto. So this is huge. G7, G20 nations, as soon as they start seeing the writing on the wall that their currencies are just getting devalued and valued and printed until basically purchasing power will eventually self-annihilate itself. This is like the watershed moments. El Salvador and smaller nations, that's fine. They're doing it almost out of necessity to get in front of the curve. But these nations, they matter. Their economies really matter in the world of global, in the global financial system. So again, really, really big news. We have to really stay on top of it. Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau, the current prime minister, has come out really accusing. So it's really in the fight stage. As soon as a politician takes a stand at this extreme point of view, back in cryptocurrencies, to mainstream it is an extreme point of view, they're going to obviously come back and attack it. So he's come out, it's highly questionable economic ideas, he's fired off a lot of criticisms towards this. So you can see the current establishment is very much not in favor of moving crypto more into the mainstream financial system. Wall Street's doing it anyway. It's moving forward all across the world, no matter what. It's going to take time. It's going to take, new leaders, new thoughts, new people getting into power. And if you're not behind it, you might get run over. So this is very, very interesting. The next big election of a G7, G20 nation is likely going to have Bitcoin and crypto as a centerpiece of what's going on. All right, these are some massive names. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but Schwab, Citadel, Fidelity, other Wall Street firms start crypto exchange, EDX markets. Now, before now, a lot of these firms, especially Fidelity, only caters to institutional and high net worth clients. That's where the big money is. But retail, they've been so far hesitant to really get into that. But now they are. They're moving full bore into it. They see where more money can be made. They see where a lot of fees and trading can be done. This is the future. They want to get their foots in the door here. Fidelity, I believe, off the top of my head, is in the top 3 asset managers under the planet. So Schwab's up there. Citadel's up there as well. So this is a big deal. This is big money positioning to get in front of this market and make money. All right, this is nice. It's a bit of a novelty if you're looking forward to the Ethereum merge, if you're an investor with Ethereum. So Google gets in on Ethereum merge excitement with nifty Easter egg. They've actually put this on the Google search engine. So if you get Ethereum merge, they have a nice countdown there. To me, this is nice novelty, but also it shows you that Google's very aware of what's happening in blockchain and crypto, and it spreads knowledge. Shows a bit of the sentiment. People are interested. Ethereum's actually quite a well-known cryptocurrency right now, and it's in the mainstream consciousness, it's in pop culture. So wanted to get that across that Google's thinking about it, talking about it. If this is a technology that's going away, it seems to be trending in the exact opposite direction right now. This is a bit of bad news, for anyone who's still thinking Luna, might come back, or it absolutely may well come back. But if you pinned your hopes on Do Kwon, so the creator of Luna and head of the Terra Labs, the police in South Korea have issued an arrest warrant for him following the UST Terra Luna explosion. Now it's based around allegations of fraud and tax evasion. So it all seems to be unraveling now. He's obviously pissed off a lot of people, and especially in South Korea, they really want to make an example of him. And upon this news breaking, Luna, the token, and also Luna Classic, dumped really heavily on the market. So there's a tremendous amount of brand damage and reputational damage that's happened via Do Kwon, via Luna Classic, that as an investment proposition, it becomes very risky for any developer, wanting to build on it, for any investor looking to, buy it up as a future investment and whatnot. So again, this is what happens if you get that hero worship bug. And we talk about it a lot on here that, it's had Mark Cuban and a few Elon Musk. If you're following or investing in an asset based on the outgoing nature, or someone who's really outspoken and is incredibly charismatic and says a lot of the right things, you really have to punch holes in your theories and self-examine your investment thesis, because that can turn around really quickly and bite you on the bum. So this is another one of those. And we know Terra Luna and UST just wiped out a lot of people. So it is a very, very sad situation. We'll see how that plays out, but not good news for Do Kwon there. All right, and just on the news of further adoption, I'm seeing this constantly. So my father-in-law lives in Dubai, and he's just constantly telling me about how progressive the Emirates are and the Emiratis are towards Bitcoin and crypto, and how they're going full bore. They'll probably make it legal tender in the next 5 years. They're building everything basically on the blockchain. And most of the major hotels and real estate firms, so a lot of these buildings here, now it just escapes me what the two big real estate firms are, but the names are on essentially most of the buildings here. Just escaped me, but it doesn't really matter. A lot of the luxury resorts are now accepting Bitcoin. Emirates, the airline, now accepts Bitcoin as well. Luxury resort Palazzo Versace Dubai now accepts Bitcoin. So you can just see a lot of the smart money, or I guess a lot of the world and lifestyle and culture, where the high net worth individuals of the world, the smart money lives and revolves in, that is all moving in this direction. So the day that the sovereign wealth funds in Dubai and Saudi Arabia and in the wealthy areas of the Middle East invest in Bitcoin and crypto, it will be too late. The market will move so much, it's not funny, but they are positioning for this. And I just wanted to highlight that area of the world is moving so fast towards this, it's not funny. So if you're questioning yourself, in this bear market about adoption and where it's going, is it ever coming back? There is no way in hell right now, based on what we're seeing, that it's not coming back in a massive way, if not 10 times as strong down the road. So just wanted to highlight that around the world, it's not all about, CPI and the dollar and all that. We also have to have the big view in front of us in the next 10, 20 years. All right, also, just before we sign off as well, would love to meet anyone that's coming to the Australian Crypto Conference up in Gold Coast. I know some of the team are going, I'm going, a lot of our mastermind clients and VIPs are going, so it'd be great to see everyone, meet everyone. Also, Tristan, our fundamental analyst, has released the fundamental section, so the two fundamentals, the updates on the cryptos that we've done previously. He's releasing that actually in the middle of the month, so within the next day or so, which is great, because at the end of the month, when we've released the newsletter previously, it's a big document, it's about 50 to 70 pages. It's a lot to get through, so we're breaking it up. So I'll do my piece at the end of the month with the signals and also the intro, Joe's intro as well. And Tristan will release the fundamental pieces in the middle of the month. So should space it out for everyone. So any subscribers, get on that and have a wonderful weekend as always. Can't wait to see anyone who's there over the weekend in Gold Coast. So, I'll sign off now, guys. Bye.